Do you enjoy drawing, painting, modeling, animating, being creative and participating in the arts? Do you enjoy it so much that you want to share your enjoyment and interact with others that feel the same? Maybe you've even thought about posting your art to social media, meeting others online, building an audience, and hey, maybe even turning some of that passion into an income through selling your art or doing commissions. Does that sound like you? Well, do I have news for you? Too bad! The internet and social media is a terrible, toxic, ravenous place that gets worse by the day, where anything you post can and will be used to feed AI that will try to replace you and your passion until you're a soulless husk of a person that does nothing but mindlessly consume advertisements and doom scroll 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year. But we persist anyway, because that's what we artists do. Every year, people want to start posting onto social media and sharing their art, or even get back into it, or decide to take their art more professionally, and social media still is the easiest way to do this. There are an absolute plethora of videos on YouTube giving advice on how to grow on social media platforms. Every year, it's the same result though. No likes, no follows, and no comments. I've played these games before! It often can feel overwhelming though, and like you're too late. That the ship has already set sail, and it's impossible to grow in a landscape where algorithms rule all, and you're competing with big creators who have entire teams and budgets under their belt. And as social media continues to grow more fractured and divisive, it can be hard to decide which platform is the best to post onto. Nevertheless, I'd say there is still hope. I mean, heck, I still post online, and so do many others. There are lots of communities out there that still post, engage, and support each other in a meaningful way, so it isn't all doom and gloom, if you know where to look. So today, as someone who has had plenty of experience on all of these sites posting art, I'd like to take a look at all the major social media platforms and assess them all, weigh their pros and cons so that hopefully you can feel a bit more guided on which is best for you. And if you stick to the end, I'll go over what I've personally settled on for where I post my art. First up, Twitter, or rather X. The pros. There's still a pretty big community there. For me, it's where a lot of the Japanese artists still are, and if I want to practice my Japanese or interact with them, or just want to see cool art, this is typically the best place to go. Cons. Basically everything else. Everything on there is being fed into an AI, and it's incredibly toxic. It prioritizes posts that boost engagement, so that tends to be controversial or toxic things, and it's designed just to keep you on there addicted and doom scrolling, not very good at all. And every month something new happens that gets people to leave the platform. It's in a constant downward spiral, so I wouldn't say it's the best long term. Where those people are going though is our next site, Blue Sky. The pros, it's a very close-knit community. There's no AI integration at all, and a lot of people are moving from other social media platforms to this one. So it's kind of people trying to keep the internet good and enjoyable. In addition, it also has the most potential for growth. The cons are that it is still growing. It's a bit smaller than the others, and they're still missing some pretty important features like private accounts. And unlike other platforms, not everyone is here. There's a large focus on mainly artists here, and a lot of artists try to sell to non-artists, and if they're not here, they're missing out on a key demographic. Where a lot of those artists are though is Instagram. Its pros are that it's a big community, probably the biggest for artists, and that's what it's really known for. Everyone is already established there, and you probably have an account already. The cons are that Instagram is becoming actively worse every day with AI integration and its algorithm. It's becoming more hostile to creators, and ads are becoming insufferable. Image posting on the platform is as good as dead, and Reels are the only way to be seen, and that isn't for everyone. You aren't shown people you follow often on your timeline, and it encourages pay to win with boosting posts through paid ads. The growth, it's constantly becoming harder and harder as a small artist. Plus, Instagram steals a lot of its tactics from other platforms. Where is it stealing it from? That would be TikTok. The pros, it is the biggest social media platform in the world, and it is the best for growth. Be able to find a niche for everything on here, and it's the best place to make short form content if that's what you're interested in, since that's where it really started and everyone else is trying to copy it. The cons are that monetization isn't very simple. A lot of countries, such as where I live, Australia, still can't make any money off of TikTok, and it's becoming increasingly more unstable regarding the recent TikTok ban, and no one really knows what its future is going to be like. Another video platform that we all know is YouTube. The pros, this is the spot for long-term content, and it's really undebatable. and has grown to have all kinds of video content, long and short and live streams. There's good ways to monetize on all of these, and it can be flexible on what you want to focus on. I'd say it's fairly decent in finding growth, and it provides a lot of good ways to interact with your community. Everything is in one spot on YouTube, so you can pretty much run everything off of that. You can even connect your store to your YouTube account now. Plus, it is a huge established industry, so it's a fairly safe bet to get into. The cons are that if you don't want to make videos, then you're kind of out of luck. Things like even simple speed paints don't tend to do well here. Although there is the community tab for posting pictures, you don't see anybody growing an audience through just posting to the community tab. Then another video platform is Twitch. For streaming, this is the most well-known spot. It's big, and for artists, there's a very close, small community. Everyone helps out and they all know each other. In addition, everything relating to streaming is made with Twitch in mind, and you're also able to monetize quite easily. The cons are that it is just for streaming. There's not really anything else on the platform. They've experimented with stories, but that's not really much. It's also somewhat hostile to the viewer, I'd say, if you don't pay in regards to all the ads. It's also very hard to grow organically. You really need to rely on other platforms to grow, and is best used in tandem with other sites as a way to support and to directly engage with your audience. Next up, Tumblr. Wait, it's not dead? The pros are that it's mostly dead in the eyes of the public, but for the people who stuck around, they are very close. It's great for fandom activity and fan art. Some fandoms are much bigger than others, and it has its own unique culture that has managed to survive. It also has blog-styled pages, which offers a lot for customization and is an early step into making your own website, which I think is pretty cool. In short, if you're able to find an audience on Tumblr, or get involved in a community, you'll be able to find a really dedicated audience and possibly really good friends. Cons, again, it will always have this image of being abandoned, and that is for a reason. A lot of people have left, and it's definitely past its prime. So there is a smaller ceiling of growth, and you'd have to move to other platforms if you want to grow more. Also, I think they've been experimenting with AI junk on there too, which is just a no-go in my book. Discord and Reddit. I have the least experience in these two, since I don't really use them. I only use Discord to keep in contact with IRL friends, and Reddit when I need an answer to a really specific niche question. But I decided to include them here anyway because I know some people do use them for art sharing. Pros? There's dedicated communities for whatever art you may make. Subreddits or servers related to fandoms, improving at art or certain mediums. It can be really easy to get eyes on your work this way, and direct feedback by interacting with a pre-established community. The cons are that you almost always have to link back to a different social media platform, so it works best to promote what you already post elsewhere. Finding or breaking into a pre-established community can be difficult or daunting. Like with Discord servers, they tend to just be so big that it's hard to even get a foothold in them. Next up is personal websites. This kind of goes against all social media by refusing to play the game. It isn't social media, but it's where I'd say the future of art posting online should be. That and blog-styled social medias. The pros are that you control everything. How you post, what you post, when you post. If you want to link it to other platforms, you can customize it all and not worry about everyone leaving or it falling apart. It can work as a portfolio to get freelance commission or industry work, or it can be like a blog to kind of look back on and share with others. The cons are that it's a lot more work to set up and can be costly, and it's not social media. So it's the safest to post art, but it will just exist in a void unless you can be social in some other way. You won't be able to get eyes on your work just by having a website. Then there's dual-wielding social media. This is a tactic that most successful artists use. Don't just stick to one platform, and as I've mentioned, some sites work really well to support each other. You can use the pros of one site to fill in for the cons of another, and whether you have your audience follow you across both, it creates more of a deeper bond, I'd say. It also allows you to spread yourself out a bit, in case one place falls apart. Just be careful not to spread yourself too thin though. Definitely don't try to be active everywhere. That's simply not feasible. You won't find yourself making much progress anywhere. For me, after many years of trial and error, I have settled on a few sites that I'm pretty happy with. My main hub is YouTube, because I've been using it for so long, since 2012, and it's what I feel natural and most comfortable with. And Blue Sky is where I like to just post images, interact with people, and other artists. It just feels like the healthiest space online to me. I'm sick of toxic communities and how evil social media platforms are. Blue Sky, at least for now, is a good escape from all that, while still being able to share art, and I feel like I'm able to grow and discover new people in there really easily. In addition, I also have my own little website which I use as a hub for all my work online. I link back to my social media platforms and I have a portfolio there. I hope to grow and make it a bit nicer in the future. I'd love to someday have like a monthly blog style newsletter through my website, or use to get professional work or commissions. But with all of these social media platforms, there's so much to choose between, and they can all change so rapidly and suddenly from good to bad, bustling to quiet, and great for growth to dead on arrival. So you can't be blamed for feeling a little overwhelmed, and nobody should be expected to keep up with all of them or be active on all of them. There is no one golden place to be, or the definitive best place to post. I fully get why some people will just stay where they are or are sick of moving from platform to platform, such as the case of some people I've seen on Twitter. And hey, I know people who are successful as artists and don't even use social media at all. As the saying goes, don't put all your eggs in one basket, so it probably is best to be active on a few, but don't overexert yourself. It can be so easy to spend all your time worrying about numbers on social media, or following specific trends, or trying to be active enough to grow, that you just end up wasting away or spending more time doing that than actually creating art and enjoying it. Social media shouldn't consume us. It should be the opposite, in fact, and we should have fun creating, sharing, and interacting with people from all over the world. It's something we have to try and keep in mind every day online.